Family Summit. And we've got a panel of people that are representing their families that have been to the Project Worldschool Family Summits in the past. And before we jump in, I'm going to just jump on over to each one of you so you can quickly introduce yourselves and share with us which summits you've been to and how many and so forth. So first, I actually want to introduce Sara Tyler. Sara is my location manager, the coordinator for the Project Worldschool Family Summit that's coming up in March. And out of everybody on the panel, Sara Tyler has not been to a summit before, and she will be asking questions to the panel as well. But before we jump into you, Sara Tyler, let's jump on over to Sarah DeSanti and go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Okay, my name is Sarah, and we have been traveling full-time for 4 years and a half, and we've been to 3 summits. This is going to be our 4th. The first one was in Thailand, which opened our eyes to everything. And then we were the one in Spain with most of the ladies here. And then the one in Mexico in Zihuatanejo last June, 2 Junes ago. Wait,
that was 2021. That was our smallest one because it was in the middle of the pandemic.
Small, but very cool. So
that was great. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Annie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Annie. We've been for about years, and we've been to 3 where I applied the Carmen at the water park. Loved, and was like Guanajuato, and we've loved it every time.
Awesome. Your signal's a little choppy, but I hope everybody heard that Annie you've been traveling for how many years?
I think 6 to 7 world schoolers. So like Evan, like we've talked at the summits, like in the elementary years, but part of the year. Other than little.
Yeah, your connection is really choppy right now, but I will tell people 6, 7 years you've been traveling with your son as a single mom and presented at 2 of the summits, right? First 2, or the second 2. Oh, you've presented at all 3. Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Carla, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Carla. We've been traveling like 4 years, more or less like Sara, since 2018, full time. I've been in 3 summits. The first one in Thailand, where I met a lot of people, and after that I was the coordinator local in Granada, in Spain. And then we went to Mexico in 2020, and then we stayed there, the pandemic and everything, and we have our little community. And for us,
our pandemic village, we all lived in this like little compound for months after. It was crazy. There were Carla, myself, and Miro, and 3 other families. We were all in the same compound for the first 4 or 5 months of the pandemic. Crazy.
So, the summits have been shaped since the beginning our travels and our way to see how we travel.
Awesome, Carla. Thank you, darling. Thank you. And Sandy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sandy, and we only went to 1 World Schooling Summit in Merida, Mexico, and that seriously, I say it to everybody, Lainie, you know this, it changed our lives, 100% changed our lives. It opened our eyes to something that we had no idea existed, and we are so thankful that that summit was there, that you put that on, because it changed our family's dynamic, everything, the way we changed our lives. So I can't wait to go to this next one because we hadn't been able to make any others. And so super excited for the next one. And Sarah, you're in for a treat if you've never actually been to a summit, because it's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandy. I can't wait to see you and hug you and see
you
how much your kids have grown since Merida. Merida was 2018, 2017,
16.
And we have a beautiful video on our Project World School Family Summit website that Sandy and her family produced as a gift of gratitude for us. And I'll share that also. It's one of my favorites. So thank you,
Thanks.
Sandy. All right, so we've got Sara and Anna next. And I love that you two are in the same room because where did you meet? Go ahead, introduce yourselves.
So I'm Anna. We actually met in Granada with some other people here, but our first summit for my family was in Thailand, which was back in 2018. And like Sandy said, has kicked us on a completely different path than the path we were ever thinking we're going to do. We've always lived abroad since about 2009, but we were taking a family gap year, going to go back to where we were and carry on. No. And I say that if we hadn't carried on, we wouldn't have met half the people or most of the people on this panel. And then we did Granada, and then we did Mexico earlier on this year.
So you've been to 3, yeah.
All on different continents, like many people, which is quite interesting too.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And Sara, my darling Sara, go ahead.
Hello. Well, we've only been to one. But we only needed one because my kids were like, yeah, we've got our friends now, we're good. So for us, it was it's actually been the foundation of our community over the last 3.5 years. And as it turns out, and maybe uniquely for this panel, my kids don't really like to travel that much. but they really, really, really bloody love their friends. And because of the one summit that we went to in 2019 in Granada, they have met all of their best friends. Yeah. All of their best friends, the people that they love to spend the most the time with, all of their time basically, is because of that summit. Awesome. So even my oldest daughter Violet, her best friend, who's in our house currently, but she's from a different county, she wasn't at the summit, but we met her. I'm not even going to explain the circumstances because you know how crazy shit happens when you start traveling and you start connecting with people. We just randomly met this other family because we were going to the summit, and now they're best friends. So yeah, as Anna said, it's completely changed our lives because community and friendship is really pivotal for all of us, of course, all of us on this panel, but for my family. So travel notwithstanding, my kids need their people, and they've got them because of Lainie.
Oh, thank
you.
So,
and so have I. Thank you. And can I just say, I don't know if this is going to come up in the conversation, but like over the last 3 weeks or so, we've had a mini World School village here in the Lakes District. Yeah. So Carla was at our place. Annie was at her place. We're next door. We've literally moved to come to Kendall because of Anna's family.
I love that. And all those connections were made at this summit. I love that so much. By the way, there were probably about 30 more people I could have invited to this panel. And I just wanted, maybe we'll have to do another one because all the people that I meet are my favorite people. All the people that I meet at the summits are my favorite people. And it was really hard to because we only had space for 10. So with that being said, thank you for those introductions. Marnie, go ahead and introduce yourself and share what summits you've been to.
Hi, my name is Marnie, and I am originally Canadian, and I'm now a World Schooler with my son. Hello to Carla and Sarah and Annie and Anna. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see all of you. I've met almost everyone on the call in person because of the Project World School functions. I attended my first World Schooling Summit in Granada, Spain in 2019, and I have since attended 2 in Mexico, Zihuatanejo and Guanajuato. And I will definitely be at Veracruz in the spring. So it's, as everyone on the call has said, and I'm just going to reiterate and reinforce, it's life altering. There is no going back. Once you have been exposed to world schooling and this amazing community, as Sara said, you know, it is all about community, not just for the adults, but for the children as well. And it changes you.
Oh, thank you so much, Marty. And finally, I know, Maggie, I'm so grateful that you were able to join us as well. And a lot of you have met Maggie as well. So Maggie, go ahead and introduce yourself. We're just starting off sharing what your name is and what summits you've been to or how many and where they were.
Fabulous. My apologies for coming on late. I was working with a client and going,
no worries.
Stop, you know, wrap up, people. I've got somewhere to be. My name is Maggie. I'm originally from Chicago. We're in Chicago now. My husband is from Argentina. Our twins were born in Argentina. And so we had never heard of world schooling. We never knew what that was. Never had a term for it. And one of our friends here who's Mexican said, oh, what you're doing is world schooling. I was like, what's that? So then a furious Google search later, I mean, the stars aligned and Lainie, your name popped up, And I was like, wait, a summit? What is that? Sounds very like clinical. Like, I didn't even know what that was. Like, is that like professional? Like, what is this? And my husband and I turned to each other, and I've told you this before, but I was like, I want to evaluate if they're as weird as we are. Like, what's the level of what are these people all about? So we were like looking, and I said to my husband, and the first summit was in Chiang Mai, and that's far from Chicago. It's really far. So we were like, where's Chiang Mai? And then we booked a flight. Actually, a flight landed in our inbox quite literally, like a flight deal for $400 round trip. And I was like, all right, it's destined. Let's do this. And we got on jokingly, just saying, they were like, where are you going? And I'm like, I don't know. It's called a summit. It might be a cult meeting. Like, I don't know. I legit didn't know what was going on. And to echo again and again and again, life-changing is the word. Like, I recognize a lot of people on this call. My kids felt, and maybe others have mentioned this, it was the first time our kids were in kindergarten, so they were 5. It was the first time we had collectively been in a space with other kids that were free and respectful. Like, they had that mix, like so much self-direction and also so much curiosity. And the summit, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, we can do this. What if we did this? And then I've been to another summit this past year, and we're going to go to the other summit this coming, what is it, month?
I have to tell you, Maggie, Miro's here. He's outside hanging up his laundry. But I remember sitting on the bus at our event that was before the summit. We had this big gathering in Chiang Mai, and it was a big family gathering the night before. It was like a social. And we sat next to you and your family. And Miro and I are like, damn, that's a cool family. We really like them. I like, we're vibing with you guys. We really, really liked you.
Likewise, because we didn't know what was going on. So you were the first people. And, you know, it's like a group summer camp almost. Like, listening, like, who are these people? And we were like kind of hiding. I don't know about hiding, but we were just in our little booth by ourselves, or in our little, but like a little bus thing. And then we talked to you and your son. And Paige and I were both like, first of all, they speak Spanish. This is cool. I didn't expect it. Second of all, like this group is just so cool. And that's what's been really surprising and grounding throughout, of knowing the summits gather not only like-minded people, because there's lots of different types of people, but really curious, open, loving people. That surprised us. It was a beautiful thing. And lots of weirdos, which is awesome, because we're weird too.
I mean, us weirdos need to find each other. I want to jump on over to Sara DeSanti, because I know you have a funny story. You guys came to the summit in Chiang Mai, also the same one where we met Maggie, and you had no clue what the thing was about. You thought, you're like, is she scamming us? Is it like, no, there were no signs. You had no clue what was going on. Do you remember? And you told me this
Yeah.
conversation, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed, and I was just like,
Yeah.
well, go with it. Go with
Because
it. The lesson.
I found it online on the Worldschool, and we were going to be because we already started traveling, and we were going to be there. And because we were right in the moment of like, let's books we brought with us and figure out another way of teaching our kids. And I'm like, Mas, look, there's this. We should go see it. And so he's like, okay. It wasn't too expensive, so I could sell it to him easily. But I had no clue what to expect. So then when we get there and we couldn't find any signs, it was like this mall. And he's like, are you sure there's this thing? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And here we are wandering in the mall. Nobody knew where this place was and what it was.
The hotel.
And
Yeah.
What? And we're like, and he was like so mad at me. He's like, are you sure? See, did we just throw away money? I'm like, no. And then this father of, I don't know, I think he was the location organizer or something. He saw us wandering. He's like, are you going to the summit? Or like, oh, there is a summit. Yes. And so we put us in the room and we're like, oh, so Mas was not mad with me anymore.
Yeah. But what you shared with me was it was stepping into the unknown and trusting. And that's kind of what world schooling is about, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful story. So I'm going to ask. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, when he kept on asking me, so what are they doing? I'm like, I don't know. And I remember asking you, what are we going to do? And you said, well, you'll see, because you're always very mysterious, which is it should be that way. Because one thing I wanted to say is that every time we went, it's always been different. It's like every time we get what we're looking for. So like if you have a big dilemma about world schooling, something will happen that will make us there, that will be exactly the answers we need in that moment. And that's how we've always felt. So 3 have not been one same to the other, except for the connections, of course, that have always been special. But what's going on during the conference has always been perfect for that moment of our lives.
I love that. And we've had several people that are here on the panel, including you, have presented before at the summits. I just want to open this question up to the panel. How is it to present, and how is it to receive the information that you're getting? What's that like for you as somebody who's coming to a quote unquote conference or summit? Anybody want to jump in?
Do you want me to answer?
Whoever, sure, you can answer.
I could jump in here and just say that coming from a background of professionals where, they met once or twice a year, and you would have to, if you were invited to be a speaker, you were addressing your peers, and there's 500 people there, and it was all very staunch and stiff upper lip type thing coming from that world. And going to the World School Summit, where you're sitting next to the person who all of a sudden their name gets called and they walk up to the front and they present something and your jaw drops and you're like, wow, I didn't know that person was sitting next to me, and that's absolutely fascinating what they're presenting, and wow, I got to talk to them later on this afternoon because that was fantastic. Like, it's I don't know how to describe it, but it's like all these people pop up from the summit with so much knowledge and information to share that's really, really valuable, and you can really internalize what they're saying. And sometimes it's what you would expect coming from that person, and other times you're just shocked and you're like, wow, they're so knowledgeable, and I really, really want to connect with that person. And that was my experience with the summits, is just the diversity of what's presented at the summits as well, like the different subject matter that's presented. sometimes as well, I've encouraged people that have attended the summits to not just look at what's being done. When you go to sometimes these weekend events, you look at the schedule and you go, okay, well, I'm interested in that talk and not that one, and so on. And you plan your day around that. And what I encourage people that come to a World Schooling Summit for the first time to do is be open and attend everything. Even if you look at it and you go, that's really not my thing, go anyway, because it's probably going to shock you and surprise you and open new doors to you. And that's really what World Schooling is all about.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody else want to jump in? Thank you. Go ahead.
What I found most
Annie, we're having a hard time hearing you. Is it possible you can reconnect? I'm so sorry.
Or turn off her video, and that might help.
Oh, yeah.
that help?
Maybe? Still a little choppy. For those that are watching this, Annie's at a hotel right now in London. So
I'll try to reconnect with maybe my Wi-Fi.
Okay, we're here for you. Come on back. Okay. Anybody else want to jump in? All right, well, I have a question for everybody. My question is, what is the most valuable experience or aspect of the Project World School Family Summits? How is this valuable to you, and what would you say to somebody who's considering joining?
I can hop in.
Yay.
Okay. Did you want to go, Anna? Did you want to go, Anna? Okay. So I think for us, the most valuable thing was to actually be in the same room with people that have been doing it. And you can, you're literally face to face with people that are living your dream life. And you get to ask any questions. All of the what ifs that are in your head, you literally get to just iron out right then and there and talk to all the parents that have been doing it, the kids. I think our kids were a lot younger when we went. And so, you always have that feeling you don't want to screw up your kids, right? You don't want to mess them up. You're taking them out of school and you're like, but I'm not a teacher and I don't know a lot of this stuff. And so what is the outcome? And then we did this panel. You did a panel with all the teens. And I swear it was like a machine gun rapid fire where all the parents, a lot of the new people like us were like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And you literally, all of your fears or concerns or whatever it was instantly melted away because you go, oh, wow, these kids are amazing. They were so poised and confident and everything that you would imagine, you can possibly imagine. These kids were up there answering every question so eloquently. And so me and Jimmy looked at each other and we were like, oh my God, they speak better than a lot of adults we've seen, And so I think for us, being able to see and talk to and all of the fears that you realize they're just fears, there's no valid anything behind it, it's just, you're scared, And so going to that summit, like I tell everybody, seriously transformed our entire lives. Our kids were all in school at the time. We were in a house, we knew we wanted something. There was a huge void, but we didn't know what it was. And then when we heard about World Schooling, and then we heard the summit was soon after we heard about it, we're like, we have to go. We have to see what this is about. Are they a bunch of weirdos? Is it weird? Because when I was younger, homeschoolers had a certain vibe to them. They had a certain feel, and it was not something that I really wanted to do. That was 30 years ago. And so we go, all right, well, let's see what this is about. And once we saw how cool everybody was and laid back and so willing to share any information that you had, that you were asking about, I go, this is it. These people are amazing. I don't know. Everything about it was just, we felt at home. You know, we felt like everybody that we came across was just super cool. They were feeling the same way we were. They wanted new experiences. They wanted adventure. I think that was the biggest thing. Living in a house, kids in school, there's no adventure. There's no, it's just very empty. You know, you're in the rat race, you're in the hamster wheel. And when we pulled our kids out, we started doing this. That was it. Like, we just felt at home. So your summit was 100% everything that helped that happen for us. You know, because you could like scroll on the Facebook page and you see what people are doing, but until you actually can connect with people and you know, like Maggie was saying, it was like, I don't know what to expect, but you know, let's just go. And so anybody that is or questioning, like maybe this is something for them, the summit was an amazing chance to get in front of people that are doing it and ask away and listen to the kids and just start connecting with people that feel the same way you do.
I love that. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's story sounds so similar. Like, we were really in a very similar position to, we just started our travels when we first went. And I mean, there's one word that you got to say, it's just go. Just sign up and go, because every experience we've had, we've taken from it what we need. And when we first went back in 2018, my children were quite young. In Mexico in March this year, one of my children is now a teen volunteer. So it's that global community on a local scale. And then when you are scrolling the Facebook feed, it's like, oh, they're doing that, because they're no longer a name on a feed. They're a person that you're connected with or know of through somebody else. And I don't think our journey, we wouldn't be here now but for that first summit, understanding what deschooling is. Wouldn't be here now but for Sarah at the second summit supporting me in schooling. And then by the third summit, I felt I could give back to people because my journey had changed in each one of those summits, and our experiences we could share now with other people along the way of where they're at. And that's the other really nice thing, is everyone's got similar values, but everyone's on a different path, and you can take different things that you need from it and also put into that pool of knowledge as well.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, Anna, that's so powerful. Thank you. Go ahead, Carla.
Yeah, I would like to share something that when Sara DeSanti was talking about when she went to the summit, like with her eyes closed, like you don't know where you are really going. Because for me I have like the similar. We were in Spain starting our travels in a van. And and I was following the Worldschool in Facebook or something, and I saw this. There's a summit, and I said, I need to go there, but we are traveling in a van, and it was like 1 month only. And I looked how to arrive there driving. I said, no, it's crazy. So we park our van because I said I have to go there, and I wasn't really sure what it was about. But it's like reading the post in the Facebook, the people talking about that. So what I want to say is, like someone says before, if you are questioning about, if you are curious, you have to go. It's like something is calling you, and then once you arrive there, it's like a window that just opened to something. For me, it was something I didn't know I was looking for, but it was that. And it's like no judgment, not all the like basic questions where you have to explain once another time again, all the same questions. All this is over, and then you start from there, like, oh, and how do you do this, and how do you do that? And then you just share how different people do education or work or travel or just your whole life, your timing for work, for everything. This is with the connection. It's like Sarah said, Sarah Bill said, we only need one. Okay, with one, yeah, we were served. We met so many people and start making so many connections, but of course you want to go to all of them. And about the value, not not only the connections but the talks that happens in the summits. Yeah, I like them because every one of us are teachers and we are all learners. I mean, I know things that maybe other don't know, doesn't know, and you know things I don't know. So everyone have something valuable to share. And yeah.
So
Just adding to what Carla was just saying too. If I had one piece of advice to give to anyone experiencing their first World Schooling Summit, it's get involved. Like actually, if there's an opportunity for a round table, don't sit back and say, well, somebody else could do that because I don't have anything to offer. If there's an opportunity to participate, then participate. Jump in with both feet, because by participating, you're also going to be opening the door to meeting that many more people. It's not like these, as somebody said earlier on this call, a summit, ooh, and how formal is this going to be? I think Sandy said that. And yet it's like nothing you've ever experienced before. And it's so informal and everyone is approachable. So feel free to participate and ask those questions that you have.
yeah, well said, Marnie. And for those of you that are watching that have never been to a summit, just to let you know, I don't fly in speakers. I don't hire quote unquote professionals. All of our talks come from within the community. So it's a way to give and it's a way to receive. And that exchange of energy is really at the foundation of what the Project World School Family Summits are about. And as Anna shared, her daughter, who was very young at her first summit, was finally able to come back as a teenager and give. And the majority of our teens that come to volunteer at the kids camp are in the same situation. They were there participating in the kids camp as a kid, and as they aged and not aged, but grew up a little bit, you know what I mean, they have come to volunteer. And the kids camp is such an amazing community for these guys too. So while we're all
Isn't it?
sharing and doing our adult, sharing and experiences and roundtables and workshops and conversations and discussions, the kids are in community and they
The
have
kids.
met their tribe. Yeah. Hey, there's one.
She was crying when the first summit was over. Emma was crying because she's like, "What? It's over? It's already finished? But I'm not done playing." So yeah,
Oh my
right,
gosh.
Emma. And now she's all grown up.
Almost ready to come and volunteer. Not quite yet.
Yeah, so how many summits we have to do still, right, Lainie?
Yeah, amazing. Anybody else want to share what the summits mean to you and what you got from it? Oh, Annie, go ahead. I'm crossing my fingers you're connected.
Now or no? Yes? Can you hear me? Yes?
Oh my gosh, I still want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, like as a presenter, I found the most amazing was that people were, there was so much sharing and collaborate. And then the second thing I loved was that every stuff box. Let's
Why?
regulate. And so I other way. We can be more meet all the requirements. And then the third thing is, I used to love, but every time we go, you have always different different way get to one another, and so that's always, and I really love last doing the improv.
Oh yeah, the talent show, the improv is a lot of fun. Annie, you were in and out, and I'm hoping that once this goes, as this is going live, you'll be able to comment and share whatever you want to share, and it's more clear. I got the gist of what you're saying because I was there, and I know, but yeah, it was a little hard to hear you. And you know what? That's one of the challenges of traveling sometime. You're in a hotel room and that's what happens. And we know that. So yeah, go for it, Maggie.
I'm going to add one more thing in case anybody's listening and being like, is this a big click? Because we kind of know each other, and it's not, actually. It's not clicky at all, which is surprising, I would say. Similarly, like in professional settings, like Marnie was saying, it can feel almost like I'm here as the expert and I'm presenting to you. And it's one of the few conferences, summits, gatherings I've been to ever where I feel like I can take my mask off, no COVID pun intended, but I feel like I can just take the gloves off and just get really real. Like, I think it was Carla who was just saying also, like, we skip a bunch of different steps. So for us in our life right now, it feels constantly like I'm explaining what world schooling is, like I'm starting from a deficit almost, and then even to reach up to like common ground takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. So it was really nice to be among a group of people who we could talk about like real issues, we could talk about like real problems. and as a presenter, I could just kind of skip a lot of the slides and go straight to like, I know you're already, for example, fostering relationships with kids. Like, I know I can feel the attachment and the love for family, that's right in the room, in a non-clicky way, if that makes sense. So that was really nice to just go as a complete newbie, as my kids would say, Minecraft related, to go into like a complete not knowing anything about anything, and then meeting with other people and getting really real really quick. And I'm talking about vulnerable, it's not like, can I justify this lifestyle? It's like, this is the lifestyle I'm after, and other people be like, this part's hard. And then us being like, yeah, I find that hard too. It's not this, whereas in my ordinary life, I'm constantly kind of justifying our lifestyle, if that makes sense. So I appreciated the summit. I echo what others have said. Without this gathering, and I had been kind of lurking on Facebook pages, without the in-person gathering, I would not have had the strength to say, I see what kind of the future holds, and it looks like a bright future. So when there's other naysayers in my life, I can be like, yeah, but you don't really get it in the same way that other people kind of in a community that understands us, and we understand them, and that's not easy to find. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Maggie. So as we've alluded to, this is a family conference, kids and everything. This is full-blown families, and it's not like it's not like proper button up, kids must behave. No, to be themselves, to express.
And trust me, they don't behave.
He is one of the people that organizes and runs the kids camp along with our team volunteers.
Yeah, so I've been to every single summit since their inception. The extent of my experience with the summits, with the kids camps, right? So I've been there. I haven't quite seen a lot of the adult programming, but and I'm sure that that's very valuable, and I'm sure that's what you guys have been talking about, and that's awesome. And
but all their kids.
I do know all of your kids, yeah. And it's definitely very valuable for like parents to connect with one another and find support systems. But if I'm being perfectly frank and if I'm being perfectly honest, I think the greatest value in the summits comes from the connections that I've seen your kids personally like make with one another. And it just makes me think back to, my experience growing up, and man, it was just really difficult, and I didn't have anything like that. And so it's being able to see and being able to facilitate those kinds of connections for all of these different families from all over has just been amazing. And I know firsthand that a lot of them are still close friends. You guys have kids that talk with one another online and still stay in touch. And I mean, these are real connections, right? So look, I'm sure everything else also has a ton of value, but that's what I've seen, and it's incredible. So I just wanted to say that, and yeah, it's been pretty great.
Well, I could chime in on that. I was just going to say, our kids were a lot younger when we went to the first one, but they absolutely loved Miro, and I forgot who the kids had as their team.
Kiwi.
Was it Kieran?
Yeah.
I think it was
not tiny. It was cute Kiwi. They absolutely loved. And the girls were, I don't even know, like 6 and 7 at the time. And it's like a summer camp for them. Like there's no parents. The parents are gone doing their own thing. The kids
they're there.
Well, they're there, but they're doing their adult stuff. And the kids are just having the most fun ever. And they are so excited now coming back because they remember how much fun they had. So I think, just like you said, Miro, is like the adults are getting their feed on what they need, whether you're a newbie like we were and finding out all the information going, I could do this. Oh my God, I love these people. Their life is amazing. But the kids are also in their own right having the best time ever and making connections. And like we still talk to a bunch of the families that we met at that first one. We had a meetup with a lot of people at RV called Boondockapalooza. With most of those people were at that summit. There was the Duvals, it was Clementine and Peter, a bunch of us, where I'm going, we know each other because of that, And so this is going to be super exciting because I know we're going to meet so many more people, and whatever we can do to help the new people that are there share our experience of how life has changed since that first summit is just insane. So I know that our kids are super excited. They know even from years ago how fun that was. And so, yeah, we are super excited. And I haven't met a lot of you in here, so I'm really excited to meet you all as well.
Awesome.
I'm jealous. I want to go. You should
come. You should come, Carla.
It's a new window, Carla. It's a new window. It's
going to open. Stuck in Mexico again. Oh my gosh.
I think one of the important things here is to point out that Lainie and Miro are pioneers in world travel as a family and as a way of raising your children. And I know that Lainie told me once that the reason that the World Schooling Summits came to be and came to fruition is because both of them were seeking the community that as a result of her summits, I'm speaking about you in the third person, but as a result of Lainie and Miro's summits, the rest of us were brought together, and the rest of us carried on the tradition that Lainie and Miro really were the pioneers of. And so I think that bears mentioning. And in the context of, for anybody else thinking about this lifestyle, you're not going to have to go this alone. You don't have to walk this path alone. There are others who have gone before you, and there's others who are continuing to do it and will walk beside you and support you in the lifestyle. And I think that that's really, really important. And that's what these summits do, is they bring people together for the purposes of having that community once you're out on the road and realizing you're not walking this path alone. So thank you to Lainie and Miro for bringing that, being the pioneer and walking that path and coming up with the innovation to bring us all together as community.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. God, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Just to avoid this being like 3 hours long, we need to start wrapping up. I want to first just let everybody know quite candidly, this is going to be the 10th Project World School Family Summit, and potentially it might be the last. I'm playing with the idea. I'm not sure. We haven't had a massive interest in the summit that's happening in Veracruz, Mexico. If a lot of people come, then I'll continue doing it. If it doesn't have value anymore for our community, we'll stop. But I wanted to bring in a group of people that were veterans at the summit that have been through it to share this information so that more people can find out about it. And if there is still a need, Miro and I'll continue doing it. But I just wanted to put it out there that I am playing with this. So I'm not like throwing in the scarcity thing just for an effect here. It just, this is going to be our 10th conference that we're producing, which is a lot of work. They're not for profit. All the money that comes in goes back out into the community, into the event. And I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy serving the community, and I enjoy everything that I get from it. And if it's of value, we'll continue doing it. But we do need to see more people interested if we are to continue. So I just wanted to put it out there and see if there were any last words that people want to share. And then I also want to give the floor to Sara Tyler to ask any questions, and then talk about what it's like, being the location coordinator for this event that's coming up in March. So first, we'll open up to the panel. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to share about, what you would say to somebody, or the value, or anything? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Firstly, my kids were already out of school when we went to our first and only summit. So we were already seen by many people as pretty weird, but like world schooling is like a bit maybe next level weird. And the brilliant thing from when you started, Lainie, to now is that it's not even that weird anymore. It's like actually so normal that everyone's doing it, right? So there are these like communities that have sprung up because of what you and Miro launched 10 years ago, which doesn't mean that we don't still need you, because actually what you guys run is quite unique. It's really different to the other things that pop up around the world. And what I love about it, and where the distinction is that it's in one spot, and you get to feel like a real community, an intentional community for that, week or 10 days, which is quite different. So for anyone who is like starting their journey of traveling as a family, or maybe people have just pulled kids out of school and they just want to connect with other people, you're like, it's kind of takes the chaos out of travel for a bit, because you just have to go to one place and then you just go there every day. And that's like, it's easy. It's actually a really easy thing to navigate with young children, because it's kind of taken care of for you, which means that you've got the headspace as a parent. And if you're a parent who's navigating travel with children, right, there's a lot of stuff going on like up here all the time, right? So to just be able to go to this one spot and like stay there for like a week, 2 weeks, and have this instant family, it just like is so relaxing. And as other people have said, you don't have to explain anything to anybody, because everyone already knows that you're quite weird. And there is this feeling of being instantly at home. And like, we're an unschooling family and have been for a long time. Yeah. And so we're used to explaining things. I never really justify or defend, but when you are with people who travel, it's different. And the level of non-judgment for our life choices is actually quite radically different to even in the unschooling community, where there is actually still quite a lot of judgment for lots of things. So for me, the people that we connect with are the people who travel, the people who've seen other countries, who've had to navigate driving on the wrong side of the road, who've had to like ask for a bottle opener in another language. Like, they're our people, because they're not wasting their headspace with stuff that's not important. like packing lunch boxes and whether their kids can read. They're thinking about the really important stuff, like where are we going to go at the end of February? Where are we going to go at the end of February? And Lainie, I just love you so bloody much.
I love you too
Thank
so
you.
much, Sarah. You better come to Mexico. I'm crossing my fingers so you guys can make it. You hop over the pond.
Well, so strangely, we've got all this stuff on this year because of, well, like through you, people that my kids, so you know what my kids are like, they like run the whole show. And they've got a 6 months worth of social engagements with other world schooling kids that we know through you. How ironic is that?
I love it. I love it. I love it. That just makes my heart so warm. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll jump in again. So anybody that's watching this, if you think that you're kind of like missing something in your life, you see other people having cool experiences, but you're not sure if you could do it, if you can swing it, if it's for you, this kind of event is the perfect thing to attend, because this is where you get to actually meet people in person that are doing all of these cool things. And like for us in the beginning, when we had all these like, I don't know, what if this, what if that, we were able to ask those questions, get them answered in person right there. And for us, we knew instantly, like when we left that summit, we knew our life was about to change, and we were all for it. And we were super excited because that's what we were missing in life. There was that big void that we were just bored, and like life was boring. And this just opened up, and it was like, holy crap, like we're on for an adventure. And meeting all of the people at the summit like made that possible. And it probably wouldn't have been possible. We would have just been scrollers on Facebook going, man, look what they're doing. That's so cool, you know? And instead that changed our lives, and now we are on that journey. So the summit is life-changing.
That's so awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maggie's going to take off. Thank you so much. Maggie, do you have any final words that you want to share before you jump off?
My final words are that there's so many connections online, and I think there's value in connections online. The value that you add of bringing together real people, it takes logistics, it takes plans, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So I really hope everybody will gather. We'll be there, so I want to see other families. But thank you, Lainie, for being a pioneer. That really is the right word. I once called you my guru, and you like said, no. Okay, fine. But pioneer and trailblazer is accurate. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here too and sharing so much, Maggie. I'll see you in Veracruz. Bye. And Sara Tyler, you've been silent this whole time. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
What is your impression? Do you have questions for the panel? Is there anything that wasn't answered that you had questions beforehand?
Well, actually, I had a list of questions.
Okay.
And a good amount of it was answered in what people were saying, so it was very valuable. When I heard, I think you should have led with the kids club, because when I heard that, I was like, let's go. We don't live with that, because my husband and I were talking. We're like, well, what do? We have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. Do we divide and you take one and I take the other? That was the big question that was going on in our head. So my questions were mostly about, like, what is the schedule? Is it fixed? Are there activities to sign up for, or is it open? What to expect?
That's a really good question. And people really want the schedule beforehand. And everybody that's here, do I release the schedule beforehand? No.
No.
And there's a reason for that. Again, like travel, you have to have the confidence that this is just going to unfold in its perfect way. I do schedule everything. When people sign up for this summit, I say that everybody's got a piece of the story. And if you have something that you want to share, either based on your profession or the thing that you do, or an interest or a topic that you're interested in, sign up to host a roundtable discussion. You don't have to have the answers. You can open it up and have a conversation. And those are really valuable. Or if you have a travel experience and you want to share, present, do a formal presentation. Here's a slideshow. You can do that too. Or if you have a talent or a skill that you want to share, you can actually do a workshop. I know that Sandy, you and your family are doing a workshop around making videos. That's what you do for a living. And only you can do what you do the way that you do. And I know Sarah DeSanti did one about photography. You're a professional photographer. So there's each one of us has a certain way of moving through the planet. Annie, you've talked about all the software and applications and hacks, travel hacks, and that's your gig. And it's such a valuable presentation. We've had presentations on being healthy on the road. We've had presentations on in family relationships, but I can't tell you what they're going to be until I get all the registrations in and I organize and we put together our schedule. And you get the schedule the first day that you arrive. And that's just how it goes. You show up, you go and participate. And it's a lot of fun to just sort of step into the present moment. The kids camp happens at the exact same time. So your 2-year-old, everybody, all of the teens love the 2-year-olds. They swipe them, they hold them, they play with them. But the kids camp is really for the 5 and up. And we do have a littles group. And so we always have 2 or 3 teens focused on entertaining the littles. And then we have events happening and all the kids from 5 to 16, can choose how they wish to spend their time. When we do summits at water parks, most of the time the kids want to be in the water. And so we've got ways of coordinating and arranging that. And it's a lot of fun. But there's never a lack of things to do. We've got improv workshops and D&D and chess tournaments and all sorts of like games. And then we've got, relay races and we always do a really, really fun talent show, which brings everybody together to celebrate one another, both for the parents and for the kids. And so you want to know the schedule, you have to show up and you'll get the schedule.
If I could just jump in really quickly with my own personal experience, and that was coming straight from the formal corporate world into my first World Schooling Summit within a couple of months of having left the corporate world. I was looking for a schedule and I wanted to have it all laid out and I wanted to know what my son was going to be doing and where he was going to be. And I actually was having almost what you might call a panic attack or an anxiety attack going into the first day of my first summit, going, Lainie, you have to show me what we're going to be doing. Like I was holding on to the side of the table. I was having a fit. And by the end of it, I'm not joking, it took less than 5 days before I went, somebody said, what's coming up next? And I said, who knows? Who cares? Let's just sit here. We'll wait and see what Lainie's got coming up for us. It was just, once you meet your community and there's so much acceptance there, things just start to roll ahead and there's less of that need to hold on to that scheduling and that needing to know everything and put everything into boxes. Because when you're traveling, a lot of stuff doesn't go in boxes, just the same way a lot of stuff doesn't fit in your suitcase.
It's an act of letting go of control. And that's how we can be present in our own lives and the lives of our children and in community with one another.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. We were so excited to get to that. And I remember when we first saw you, Lainie, in the lobby, you guys were setting up and I go, there she is. It was like, you were the biggest celebrity to me. I'm like, oh my God, there she is. I got to go say hi. Give her a big hug. I'm sure I'm not the only one that felt that way. It's like you see that blonde hair, the pigtails, and I'm like, oh my god, thank you.
Still in pigtails.
I know, and I still have the mohawk. It's so crazy.
I know.
But that I was the same way. I was like, and I'm definitely not a planner or corporate anything, but I wanted to know the schedule because I was so excited to see what the topics were and what the workshops were going to be, and it wasn't there. I go, all right, get rid of the control, Sandy. Like, it doesn't matter, whatever it's going to be. And you now have to know, like, you are in good hands. You guys have this all figured out. Like, this is not your first rodeo. You know what the people need. You know what the kids need, and you guys nail it. I mean, I can only imagine how this one's going to be because it's been so many years. But that I love that you do that, you know, because people that are like, okay, so I want to know and I want to plan out. I'm going to do this, and it just wipes it all clean. It's like a clean canvas, and you just go with the flow. And the same thing with traveling, exactly. Like, you're going to miss a flight, you're going to miss this, and it almost like is the precursor to that lifestyle of don't plan it, just book the flight and let it and see what happens, you know. So I love that. Oh, Jimmy wants to say a little something.
So one thing that I want everybody to remember too, if you're thinking about this, is like, we are the experience. I'm so emotional with this. I don't know why, but we are the experience. So the minute you get there, start to make connections, because they will last a lifetime, and the more you make, the better off you're going to be. So that's all I got.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
for that.
let your guard down. I think that's the biggest thing is let your guard down, because you go there and you're like, oh, like I think Maggie had said, you're afraid it might be this cliquey thing. And we went there not knowing a single person, nobody at all. And me and Marcy Duval met instantly, and it was just this. You just I don't know. It's like a magnet to the people you're supposed to meet, and I absolutely love that. So I love let the guard down, start talking instantly, you know, just start connecting, you know, and don't worry about the schedule because it's all going to happen the way it's supposed to.
Exactly. Thank you. Sarah, did that answer your question?
It did. Even though I'm like, well, I'm the location coordinator. Maybe she'll give me the schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, it's okay. So the questions that people have asked me, I literally was just talking on a sales call. It's the husband of one of my authors, and he's saying, I told him about the World Schooling Summit, and he said, what? I've never heard of this. Oh, no. Tell me. He said, they're in Canada. He said, our son has off from February 16th for 3 weeks. And then he goes to me, how much does it cost? And I say, oh, I don't know. How much does it cost?
It is for 5 days. It's I think $129.
I think it was 100. That was the early bird price, I think.
I don't remember.
Okay, let me go.
Is that per person or per family?
Person? Yeah,
Okay.
it is per person. And it covers the 5 days entrance, obviously, of the water park, all of the workshops, everything that you need, the talent show, and all of the community. This is what it costs to produce a summit. $155. It went up. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And kids are the same?
And the kids are the same. Yes. So that's covering. We've got a staff of Miro plus 10 young people. And so they come and they're taking care of the kids every day. And we've got the art workshops. We've got all kinds of stuff that we organize. So all the money that comes in goes out to produce this event.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
It's the best money spent, in my opinion. It's always been every time we've gone. So tell your friend that it's a very good investment.
I don't think the money's a problem. I mean, he was ready to book flights. I just said
Perfect.
One more question that I've been getting a lot is, you know, it's small, but there is a local community of unschoolers, world schoolers, with all the different terminologies. And they're asking me, you know, why I don't speak English. So is that a problem?
Nope, we're going to run some workshops in Spanish.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. I had an Italian friend once.
Fantastic. And then we always have non-English speaking kids. And Miro, and we have another one who is volunteering that speaks Spanish. So they're all, don't worry, there's always community. There's always somebody to make sure that there's a group of people to play with, and all that is taken into consideration. It's a lot to organize, and it's a lot of fun. And it's more fun if more people are there. It's just right now we've got just over 100 people registered, and our general, I think the one that Sandy went to was our largest, was about 400 people, and Spain was about 250, almost 300. Is that right? Something like that. And that's kind of where our sweet spot is. So we'd like to have another 100 people register. It'd be great. The more the merrier, and the richer the community is. It really is. And also with greater budget, we could bring in more entertainment and more classes for the kids and more workshops. And that's where the money goes.
Awesome. No, that's it. Everything else I have was really answered. It was really more about the experience. And it was answered very well by everybody. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I think one of the really important messages of attending any of these summits is leave your preconceived notions at the door and be open to the possibilities.
Thank you. And that's a beautiful way to wrap up this. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you, and the connections and the friendships that I've made with each and every one of you here. And I look forward to deepening those connections and relationships and meeting new people. So this will be our 10th one. Can you believe it? Unbelievable.
It's a big success.
Oh, thank you.
You should be very proud of yourself for the community you created.
Lainie, I'll pay you $1 million if you do another one.
Guess what? You heard it. Kosovo.
I'm not sure where he gets the money, but
I love that. I absolutely love that. Also, I want to actually, Sara DeSanti, I want to hand over the floor to you, because you're organizing a pop-up the week before and a pop-up the week after. You want to briefly talk about that?
yes. So because a lot of families usually arrive earlier and leave later, and this has happened at the last one in Mexico. There was a pop-up organized before and after, so people could connect earlier. So once you get to the summit, you already know each other, and it's more fun because you don't have to figure out all the kinks. You already are best friends. So we are the ones hosting this year because Rachel isn't going to be at this one. She's the one that created the Worldschooling pop-up website and all the activities. So we have a bunch of events organized. Most of them are free, or there's a little fee to pay. There is a fee to pay to participate to the pop-up, which I think the early bird price is finished already. But yeah, you pay that fee and you can do participate every day. There's between 2 or 3 activities a day. And it's mainly, the purpose is to connect with other families. I think there's already families that have done pop-ups with Rachel, so you know how it works. But anyway, it's we go explore something and spend some time together, get to know each other, the kids connect, and it's just a way of prolonging the summit for longer than just a week, because a week is not enough then when you get to the end of it. So
I wish Annie's connection was better, because she helped co-organize the pop-ups here in Guanajuato this year, the one that just passed. And I saw the pictures. You guys had so much fun. It was successful, wasn't it, Annie?
Much. And it's only $100 for your whole and the pop-ups being organized makes it so much fun to talk to, and it's harder to organize. So it really for like real community for long.
Yeah. And so just to reiterate, if you didn't catch what Annie said, $100-ish for each family. And then you've got like somebody like a social director. Okay, guys, today we're meeting here and we're doing this and this, and the whole family goes, and you've got like these like mini adventures with other families, which is really cool, you guys. So consider coming to the summit and come a week early and stay a week late. So 3 weeks in Veracruz would be an amazing vacation for you and your family.
And can I say something else? If you have teenagers, they should do the teen retreat because Lainie still has some spots available. Our kids are going to be there, so they want more friends. So that's another thing happening after the summit for the teens.
Yeah, exactly. My son and I host a teen retreat. It's a short teen retreat after, and Sarah's kids are coming, and Marnie's son is coming. And Sandy's kids are coming. Oh, yeah.
So they all need more friends.
But why am I going? I'm 24.
Awesome. So that's for the teens the week after. So I'll drop that information. I'm sorry?
There's a lot of things going on. It's definitely worth coming to Veracruz in March.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Are there any final words? We went a little over an hour, and I know it's time to wrap this up. So, any final thoughts before we shut?
I will post the link to the information about Veracruz with the video, and I did a blog article for Nellie Huang about things to do in Veracruz too. So I'll post them with the video.
Awesome. Fantastic. I'm excited. Thank you guys all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lainie.
Bye.
Feels